We will play Friday night here at the Sports Center at 7 o'clock against William Patterson University. We have been the top-seeded team for the playoffs. That's why we have the home game on Friday. Patterson is the second seed, so it's kind of worked out by design that the two best teams over the course of the season are playing in the final. And we have beaten them both of the times we played them. So I would assume, we more or less will go into the game as a favorite. Patterson has the kid that I actually voted for Player of the Year in the league, because you're not allowed to vote for your own players when you vote. They have a kid, a 6'6", 6'7" kid named Tariq Bridgman that I think is pretty good. And then they have another kid that made second team All-League, a kid named Burgos that has scored over 1,000 points in the last 2 years for them. And they're the two primary threats. And they played pretty consistently throughout the year. They hit a stretch right at the end of the regular season where he had some injuries pile up and he ended up losing 3 games in a row. But I understand what he's saying, that Bridgman actually hadn't done a live practice in a number of weeks because of his ankles. But we've kind of been faced with that same situation with Josh Blayman. And then when we actually played at Patterson, Armin Kane sprained his ankle with about 30 seconds to go in the game, so that the trainers have had us taking it easy on them, plus Marcus Harmon for the last month, so that both of us have gotten beaten up over the course of the season. It seems to be like ankle sprains are in this year. And I don't know if it's affected some of the other teams or not, but I do talk with Patterson's coach because we're fairly friendly, and I know what he's been dealing with, and to a degree he knows the same thing that we've been dealing with it. I would like to think that strength right now is just our energy level. I mean, last night we played. There were a couple of games that, you think it's easy for kids to get up for just a 25-game season, but that never completely works out anytime. There's always 2 or 3, maybe 4 games where kids don't come to play. And we played 4 Wednesday night games home in a row to end the season. I would say that the first 3 of them, we didn't come with a whole ball of energy. But, we showed up for the game with Montclair last year because we felt we could guarantee ourselves the top seed, and then we certainly played last night. So that if we're playing with energy, we're not bad. Well, the 2 consistent high scorers for the year have obviously been Josh Blayman and Armin Kane. And I mean, Josh had a good game last night. Ironically, Armin only had 3 points. But he's buying in also in the fact that it's not necessarily how many points he gets. The main thing is that we win. And but they've been overall our 2 best players. Well, what I only really do, I've done it for years, when we get the playoff week, we really don't do anything live at practice. The last thing I want to do is have somebody get hurt doing something live and then they're not available to play in the playoff games. And kind of it's almost an extension because the 2 weeks or so leading up to now, we were restricted with what we could do with Josh and Armin in practice anyway. So that we've had a lot more low-key practices in the last 3 weeks than I would maybe normally would have liked to have had. But for playoff week, no, there's nothing live happening.